Hello friends, Cam here from the Nerdstravaganza podcast, coming to you from the Adventure Game Store in Davie, Florida. We're here in the back of the Adventure Game Store in the Dragon's Lair, bringing to you another board game review of a new Kickstarter campaign that's just about to start, Good Cop, Bad Cop, Bombers and Traitors. I've been a huge fan of Good Cop, Bad Cop since it came out last year, also on Kickstarter. It's produced by Overworld Games. This is actually my copy of the original Good Cop, Bad Cop. We have not done a review on that, but I'll try to incorporate all the original rules and then explain why Good Cop, Bad Cop, Bombers and Traitors is a little bit different than the old game. Now, the components, as you can see here, are much bigger than the smaller game, but they're very similar. I'll just show you the smaller game. Fits right in your pocket, which is nice. You get a lead investigator card, which is very similar to this the larger lead investigator card. You've got some rules cards. Then you've got some gun cards. You've got wounded cards, equipment cards, and integrity cards. Very, very similar to what you have here with the Bombers and Traitors expansion. You've got your lead investigator card. Comes with it's much bigger. Comes with a nifty little stand on the back. Goes through the actions you can take, and then the take aim phase, which is at the end of your turn. You've got the guns here, also on stands. Makes it very easy when you decide to equip yourself with a gun to denote who you're going to aim it at. With the stand, you've got your wounded cards, you've got your equipment cards, and your integrity cards. So now that we've gone through the components, which obviously are much better quality and are a lot nicer than the original game, let's go through a little bit of basic gameplay. You are going to be one of four different things. You are either going to be the Kingpin, which is the leader of the bad cops or bad faction. You are going to be the agent, which is the leader of the good guys or the bad of the good faction. You are going to be an honest cop, who obviously is self-explanatory, is a good, hardworking man in blue that's cleaning up the streets. Or you're going to be a crooked cop, which is obviously, as you can tell by the art, not a savory fellow. So what's going to happen is, depending on how many players you have, it's very akin to Seven Wonders. It's very simple. It tells you right in the top hand corner if you're going to play with 6 or more people or 5 or more people, like this card shows. You would keep in all the cards with 5 or under, and then just discard all the cards over 5, like this one, to be if you're playing a 6-player game, you get rid of any cards that had a 7+ or over. That way the numbers work out. There are 24 total integrity cards, which allows you to play up to 8 people. So as I said, these are the integrity cards. The way that the game is played is that every player will get 3 cards, the 3 integrity cards. Those integrity cards then get placed face down in front of you. So say these are my 3 integrity cards. I'm going to play them face up for you just so you can see. So say I got the agent, the crooked cop, an honest cop, and the agent. Now, this would mean that I am the agent, regardless of what the other cards are. So even if I had another crooked guy here, I still would be on the side of good because I am the agent, who is the leader of the good faction. Now, if I wasn't the agent and I just had an honest cop here, then I would be on the crooked side of the bad cops because I have a majority bad as opposed to good. And of course, just for completionist sake, if I had 2 honest cops and 1 crooked, I would be on the good side. You also get, during the game, 1 equipment card. So included with my 3 face down cards, I would get an equipment card. These equipment cards let you do a lot of different things, like here, smoke grenade. It lets you the turn order is permanently reversed at the end of the current player's turn. So I would take my turn, and then instead of things going counterclockwise, they would go back the other way. Taser. Taser's pretty cool. Lets you steal a gun from any player, and you can use that as your turn, and it doesn't affect you in any other way. Now, the equipment cards are very important in the game because it definitely throws a lot of flavor into what happens during the gameplay. Equipment cards can be played at any time, even if it's not your turn, unless it specifically says on the card that it must be played during your turn. The wounded cards, these cards are for either the agent or the kingpin. If they get shot, then they take a wounded card. So let's just, for argument's sake, say that I was the agent, and I'm playing with my cards face down. What we'll do then is we'll go through a basic turn. We'll go through the basic turn actions, like shown on the back of the lead investigator card. This would, if it's my turn, it would come in front of me, and I would be able to take my actions. First, I could either investigate a card, so I would be able to take one of my neighbor's cards, take a look at it, see what they were, what that particular card is, and then I have a little bit of information to work with. My second action would be to equip. I could take an extra equipment card. Now, it's very important to remember two things. One, if you take an equipment card, the hand limit for equipment cards is 1. So I would have to take this equipment card, look at it, look at my other equipment card, and then decide whether or not I wanted to play one or return one to the bottom of the deck. Because you can, like I said, the hand limit is only 1 for the equipment cards. But if I do take an extra equipment card, what I will then have to do is turn over one of my 3 face down cards, and that will give information to the rest of the people at the table as to what faction I am representing. The third option is to arm myself. I can pick up one of these nifty little guns, and I can say, okay, I have to. I'm going to point this gun at someone. It's very important to remember that you have to immediately point the gun at somebody else at the table. So, say I was pointing it at my neighbor to the right, I would declare that, you know, John Doe over here is being targeted with my gun. I also, just like if I was equipping myself with an equipment card, would have to turn over one of my cards and reveal that to the rest of the players. The final and last action that I can do is shoot my gun. Now, it's important also to remember here that in order to shoot the gun, you have to have already equipped it and turned over one of your cards. So that shooting the gun is always going to happen on a successive turn. What happens then is, let's just say, for instance, I got shot by a player to the right. What would happen then is I would have to turn over all of my integrity cards and reveal to the table and the rest of the players what my allegiance is. And as a matter of fact, my allegiance is to the good side because I'm the agent. So then, in this situation, what would happen is I would get a wounded card. The wounded card would then be placed in front of me, and on the back of the wounded card, on the back of the wounded card, it tells you draw an equipment card when you take this card. And so basically, I would take another equipment card, but remember, hand size is limited to 1. So if I already had an equipment card, I would have to make a choice. Now, if I was not an agent and I was just a regular, honest, run-of-the-mill Joe cop, then I would be out of the game. I'd be dead. But that's okay because these games typically don't last more than maybe 10 minutes. So it is player elimination, but it's okay because, like I said, you're going to be playing very short games. But like I said, I am the agent, so I take a wounded card. Now, of course, as we said, the object of the game is for one of the factions to win. How do you win? Well, if you are on the bad side, you want to kill the agent. If you're on the good side, you want to kill the kingpin. So obviously at this point, everyone at the table knows that I am the agent and I am the leader of the good faction. So now all of the bad guys are going to be gunning for me. And when I get shot for the second time, my wounded card, it goes away and I am dead and the bad side wins. So that seems pretty straightforward, but that's really where these equipment cards come in, because there's a lot of different cards in here that can really affect the gameplay. They can make you make others who might be trying to shoot you point their guns somewhere else. There might be cards that allow you to escape from being harmed for that turn. There's all different kinds of cards that really add a lot of depth and replayability to this game, because you never know what's going to pop up. And as I said, you can play these equipment cards pretty much at any time, unless it says that you can only do it on your turn. So that is the basic gameplay of Good Cop, Bad Cop, and you would have gotten that just from the base game. Now, what makes Bombers and Traitors a little bit different is, if you notice, here on these cards, you've got a little bomb here. You see the little icon here for the bomb, and then there are other little icons on here, like so. Let me show you the knife icon. So if you have a knife icon, that denotes a traitor, and if you have the bomb icon, that denotes a bomber. Hence, Good Cop, Bad Cop, Bombers and Traitors. Now, the way that you would become either a bomber or a traitor is to have 3 of the same icon for all 3 of your cards. So if you're the agent of the Kingpin, this wouldn't apply to you, because you would never be a bomber or traitor, because there are no bomb icons or traitor icons on either of the Kingpin or the agent. Now, if I was, say, a crooked cop with a bomb and a knife, which gives you the ability to use either or, the bomb or the knife, and I had an honest cop here that had the bomb, and then I had a crooked cop here that had the bomb, there's 3 bomb icons. So that would mean I'm a suicide bomber. That changes my whole strategy of the game. What I need to do then is try to get myself killed. Very similar to the Tanner in Werewolf, if you're familiar with that game. Basically, instead of trying to help my bad faction, the crooked cops, win, and my boss, the Kingpin, win, I'm trying to get everyone else at the table to kill me. You know, point a gun at me, shoot me, then I turn over all my cards and say, haha, I'm the bomber, bomb has gone off, everyone's dead, and so as the suicide bomber, I win. Now, if you are the traitor, you would have 3 cards with the traitor icon, and so that would then be denoted by the little knives here. And so what would happen then is that I am trying to betray the Kingpin, because here I would have 2 crooked cops, so obviously the majority is crooked, and so I would be a crooked cop, and I would be trying to get the Kingpin killed by either my own team or the other team, so that I could take his place, and basically then I am the winner, because I've betrayed my boss, the Kingpin. So that is the game in a nutshell with the expansion of Bombers and Traitors. I have to say, the original game, is one of my favorite social deduction games. It's a party game, it's a light game, but it has a lot of depth, because you're constantly trying to figure out information, you're constantly trying to figure out what your friends are doing, you're constantly trying to figure out what you might be doing in terms of strategy to try to throw people off, and obviously you don't know who your teammates are until you've gained some information by investigating, and so there's a lot of replay there and a lot of fun. This just simple little change of adding the bombs and the knives and these whole other variants just takes that to another level, and it makes it so much more fun, because you have no idea. You might know that someone is on the crooked side, but you might not know what their 3rd card is, so they might end up being a suicide bomber or a traitor. You might think that they're on your team, but they're really working against you, and that adds so much flavor to the game that it just takes a great game, makes it even better. I'm a huge fan of this game. I play it all the time with my friends. We play it at our Thursday night game nights here at the Adventure Game Store. I definitely recommend it. The Kickstarter is coming out this week. It's the 3rd week of January 2015. If you get a chance, check out their Kickstarter campaign and back this game. You won't regret it. It's Good Cop, Bad Cop, Bombers and Traitors. I definitely recommend you go pick it up. It is Ganza approved.
Thank you, fans, for joining us for another Nerdstravaganza Reviews. If you'd like more Ganza goodness, why not subscribe to our channel? Visit our homepage, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook.